Good evening to my gentle viewing audience. Yes, I know it's been a couple of weeks, but hell, I found my PlayStation 2 and some of the PlayStation 2 games and was reliving the past. Kind of like what Officer Adriel Dominguez was doing when he knocked the fuck, give me a moment, out of 35-year-old Lowell Portier. For really no reason at all. Now this happened in Miami Beach, Florida, December 3rd. Now, allegedly a call came in regarding somebody being loud, refusing to leave a restaurant, and using a few expletives directed at two women. Now the video you're about to see is graphic, but what the fuck? I'm gonna show it to you anyway. Have a look. While I get my hydration on.
A Miami Beach police officer is asking for whistleblower protection after releasing video of a fellow officer punching an unarmed man. And the violent incident happened December 3rd at a restaurant. An officer can be seen striking a man hard enough to knock him on the ground. Jerika Duncan shows us what's behind the video's release. Jerika, good morning.
Good morning. Well, we spoke to the attorney for the whistleblower, Frederick Dominguez, and he has no relation to Adriel Dominguez, the officer who threw the punch. Now, according to the attorney, the police report of the incident does not match what actually happened, and his client is hoping to be protected from retaliation for what he calls an act of bravery.
Officers responded to this South Beach hotel following reports a man was acting irate, screaming loudly and cursing at others. Police say a confrontation soon began between that man, Lowell Portier, and Officer Adriel Dominguez. With one swing, the officer knocked Portier out cold. According to the police report, Portier clenched his fist and took a fighting stance, causing the officer to fear for his safety. Portier was arrested and charged with assault, resisting an officer, and disorderly conduct for actions allegedly not seen on video.
He thought it was outrageous. He thought it was really sickening.
Michael Pizzi is the attorney for Frederick Dominguez, an officer who was not at the scene that night. Pizzi says his client heard about the incident from fellow officers and decided to find the video from the department's body cam footage.
After a week went by and nobody did anything to expose it, nobody investigated it, and the report was fabricated, Officer Dominguez felt that he had an obligation to come forward and achieve justice.
The Miami Beach Police Union strongly defended the officer in the video, writing, "There is no question Officer Adriel Dominguez was legally justified and fully entitled to protect himself." But Pizzi disagrees and says his client now fears retaliation.
I hope the police chief and Miami Beach sends a message that they are going to encourage people to come forward and report misconduct, and they're going to protect people who show integrity and who show bravery and do the right thing.
An internal affairs investigation has been launched into the conduct of Officer Adriel Dominguez, who worked at the department for just 2 years. He has been taken off of patrol duty. The whistleblower's attorney told us he has not yet heard back from the police chief and hopes to get a response about protection soon. But his client does plan to show up to work today.
Wow, very brave of the police officer to turn against a fellow police officer. But when you see it on videotape, it is disturbing. I do think the suspect was close. That what?
Absolutely.
Very challenging words in many neighborhoods. But you expect the police officer to handle it differently.
Yeah, right.
Thank you, Jerika.
Thank you, Jerika.
Yeah, that shit happened. But I'm gonna show you this other video too. Just in it from my remembrances, I remember that they showed a little something prior to what you saw on the news video. So let's have a look at that other video. There you go. So now, according to the official police report, which I personally have not seen, but Mr. Michael Pizzi saw. He's the attorney for, and you saw him in the news video, for Officer Frederick Dominguez, a hero among heroes, who's also amongst a bunch of motherfuckers that are pieces of shit. But I'll get to that in a moment. And that the police report is, quote, a bold-faced lie. That was always a bald-faced lie. But okay, a bold-faced lie. Now the report says, allegedly, as I have not seen it, he called the officers crackers, acted agitated, and, quote, appeared as if he wanted to challenge, unquote, one of the officers. Then he was like, what? Clenched his fist, took a fighting stance, and leaned into the officer's face before the officer struck him. Y'all saw the video, therefore you also know that's bullshit. Now, that was a smooth move. That was a smooth move, the way the officer used his left hand to pull Portier in. So it looked like Portier was coming towards him, and then clocked his ass. Now what that shows me is that Adriel Dominguez is a bitch. You got to cold cock somebody to knock them the fuck out. You can't stand straight up and just fight and see what happens. And you got the damn uniform on, and there's more than one of you. And what makes this more disturbing is the fact that there was more than one of you pigs out there. And after that shit happened, none of you reported a fucking thing for a week. Which is why I, the representative of all black people, of all civilized black individuals in America, because I don't represent nig. What was I saying? Anyway. Thank you, Frederick Dominguez. You see, he wasn't even on the scene. But he heard about what happened. Likely locker room talk. Man, did you see Adriel knock that motherfucker up? Man, you're gonna see that shit. Kind of like, what was that? Boys in the Hood. And that motherfucker running around with the tape, showing everybody in their daddy. Maybe Adriel, well, I'm glad Adriel Dominguez did not see that movie. Because then he would have known the tape is out there. Motherfuckers, you talk about it, folks is going to want to see it. And even though it did not take Frederick Dominguez, well, even though it didn't take somebody trying to fuck Frederick Dominguez's girl for him to look for the tape, for him to turn your motherfucking ass in, Adriel. That just makes Frederick Dominguez more the hero. He didn't have to go look up that tape, and even that footage, that body cam footage, he didn't have to look it up. But he did, and after viewing it, he didn't have to report that shit. He didn't have to show it to his attorney so he could get whistleblower protection. But he did, which in all likelihood effectively ended his career as a law enforcement officer. Now, I believe that story was like from 4 days ago, but I thought it was like he was supposed to go back to work Thursday, December 13th, 2018. Whereas Adriel Dominguez has been removed from active duty, with pay, I'm sure. And the fact that the police union is going to stand by that piece of shit and say that he was justified. The fact that his fellow pigs stood by and did not report his ass just goes to show you that I, the embodiment of all civilized black individuals in the United States, am disgusted by what I saw, and all it does is reinforce the fact that black people cannot trust law enforcement officers in general. We don't know who the fuck you are inside of that uniform. Could be a racist piece of shit like you have in Miami Beach, or you could be a kind, compassionate, caring individual like that officer in San Diego that bought some black kids some damn McDonald's or something. Or the officer who used foul, well, he didn't use foul language, he called them boy when he confronted those two black children on that guardrail, talking about you walking around with this motherfucking play gun. I could have put your ass in the dirt. What the fuck you doing it for? I don't give a damn how he said it to them. He very well may save their lives. Look, Frederick, I hope you find a lucrative position somewhere else. Maybe you could work for the CIA, the FBI, Homeland Security. Somewhere in, well, shit. Maybe you could work in Internal Affairs. Because truth and justice are within you. Look. Actually, I'm just cutting short right there. What the fuck? I've said what I've had to say. Thank you, Frederick Dominguez, for doing the right thing. Thank you, Michael Pizzi, for representing him. And Mr. Portier, can I get a couple dollars after you sue the fuck out of the police department? That's it, that's all.